Today I'm going to do something a little bit different than what these videos have been up to now, because I've been trying to avoid using props. But I am going to add using a chair, and I am using specifically a folding chair. You could try a lot of these poses using any chair, a dining room chair. Some of them might not work, some of them might work. For the sake of the videoing, I'm not putting my chair up against the wall. For you practicing at home, I think it's probably safest to have these legs up against a wall so that the chair can't slide at all. I've done a lot of these postures before, so I'm going to be practicing with the chair just in the middle of the room. And don't do it with a wheeled chair, with a chair that has wheels. I want something sturdy that you can bear weight on. Okay, so that said, it would also be handy for today's practice to have a couple of folded blankets. They don't have to be yoga blankets. You could use a blanket off your bed or a couple of beach towels or something. Work really well as blankets. And if you like to use blocks for your practice, you could have them handy. I've heard people use boxes of like disinfectant wipes as blocks. I think that's hilarious. So, good improvisation. So, yeah, we're gonna start using the chair, if possible, lying on our backs. So some people like to pad beneath the calves here. They find it more comfortable for the knees to have the knee exactly above the hips or to have a softness underneath the calves. I like it like this, so pick your choice. So feel free to put a blanket beneath your knees if you'd like. Feel free to put a blanket beneath your head if you'd like. Open your arms away from each other. Let the legs, the weight of the legs, be supported by the chair. If this is not working with your chair, just come onto the floor, put your feet on the floor with the knees bent. Same thing. We're all going to breathe into the backs of the chest, noticing the ribs moving back into the floor when we inhale. They also move up towards the ceiling in the front. They're moving in all dimensions. Towards the front edge of the chair, bend your knees in towards the chest, roll onto one side. Take a couple of deep breaths. Use your hands on the floor and gently push yourself up to seating. Okay, now remember, every position, you are in charge of your body. You are the monarch of your mat. You know best what feels okay for you. So I'm just going to remind you, if something doesn't feel good, give it a rest. You don't have to do it, or take a modification, bend your knees. That said, we are going to start doing dog pose on a chair. So my hands are on the chair, palms down like they would be for dog pose, drawing the shoulder blades back away from the ears. Good. My hips are above my heels. The balls of my feet are spreading wide. The toes are broad. Good. And then if it felt fun for me, staying grounded through the left foot, I could try lifting my right leg up any amount off the floor, flexing my right foot. I'm having a really hard time keeping my hips even today. But I'm working on it, lifting up through that inner left thigh, and then I'm bringing that right leg back down. And I'm recentering, regrounding, and dog on the chair. And And then I'm drawing the shoulder blades back away from my ears, and then I'm lifting that left leg up, trying to keep the hips relatively parallel. Left toes towards the floor, left foot flexed, deep breathing. Jaw soft, shoulders soft, good. Bring that left foot down. Nice work. And then bending your knees, you can walk in towards the chair. Come on up to standing. And just check in. Notice how that felt. Take a couple of breaths into Tadasana. Okay, next we're going to move to doing a lunge on the chair. One of my favorite, absolute favorite poses. So I'm going to put my right foot on the chair, right knee above the right ankle, and I'm going to bring my left leg back, pushing back through that left inner heel, and I'm going to drop my shoulders down away from my ears and lift up strongly with my belly, supporting my ribs, and I'm drawing my shoulders down, and I'm pushing back through that left inner heel. Good. And now I'm going to bend that left knee towards the floor. Any amount. Doesn't have to be deep. And then I'm going to keep my hips low and push back through that left inner heel to straighten that leg. And if that feels not good to me, I'm not going to do that anymore. If that gives me a good stretch for me, I really enjoy doing that. You could try that a few times. Moving nice and slowly, just a little bend to that left knee. Keep the hips low, push back through the left inner heel to straighten that leg. Okay, good. And then we'll slowly bring that left leg forward, step the right leg off the chair. Come on up, check in. How'd that feel? Okay, let's try that on the second side. So this time we're going to bring the left leg up onto the chair, left knee above the left ankle. Coming back with the right leg. Drop your shoulders down away from the ears. Good. And then we're going to go ahead and see if you would like to bend that right knee towards the floor. You don't have to do it. And keep those hips low as you push back through that right inner heel. Well, just think about how that feels. You don't have to do it at the movement. If you're holding the lunge, that is an excellent practice right there. Good. And then pushing back strongly through that right inner heel. Bring that right leg forward. Bring that left leg down. Come on up to standing. What we're going to do next is going to be moving from dog pose on the chair with the leg lift into a potential Ardha Chandrasana or half moon pose. That's a more intermediate balance pose, so definitely don't feel obligated, as always, don't feel obligated to do anything, but definitely if you're newer to yoga, maybe think about giving this one a skip. And we're all going to start the same way with our hands like this and lifting one leg, and if you're newer to yoga, I'd stay there and not do the rest of the pose. If you're going to do the Ardha Chandrasana and you like to use a block for Ardha Chandrasana, you're welcome to have a block available. Okay, so we're all going to start the same way. Bringing your hands onto your chair. And now here's where it's really good to make sure that your chair is at a wall, right? Remember, I've been doing this a lot, so I feel pretty comfortable with this setup. But you might might want to have your chair at a wall, right? We're going to come back into a dog pose on our chair. Hands are on the seat of the chair, shoulders back away from the ears, hips roughly above the heels, feet possibly pointing forward if that's comfortable. Good. And then we're going to lift up that left leg, stretching straight back through that left heel. Good. Feel free to stay here. If you want to move into the Ardha Chandrasana, we're moving from the right hip. And you're going to rotate that right pelvis around the right femur head as you bring the right hand towards the floor or a block if you're using one. I'm using the palm of my left hand on the seat of the chair. As you can see, I'm pushing a little bit to help remind me to lift up through the lower part of my right rib cage. I'm flexing my left foot. If I wanted to, I could experiment with trying to lift up with that left arm. Good. Definitely don't do anything that's not comfortable for you. If the left arm is lifted, bring it down. And again, we're going to move from that right pelvis, moving around to that right femur head. And just slowly rotate back to neutral. If it feels okay, good. Then bring that right hand back up onto the chair. Let's all lower the left leg. Those of you who are holding that leg lift, that was a long hold. Good. Come back to dog pose. Bend your knees. And then come on up. Check in. Take a breath. Hips above the heels. Shoulders above the hips. Couple of breaths here. Good. Okay, we'll take it on the second side. Bringing both hands, actually I will move the chair so I'm not turning my back to you. Having both hands on the chair, draw back into your dog pose. Shoulder blades back away from the ears, jaw soft. And then lift up the right leg. Option, stay here. If you would like to, begin to rotate that left pelvic bone around the left femur, bringing the left hand down, possibly to the block, possibly to the floor. Good, flexing that right foot, stretch back through that right inner heel. I'm using that right hand on the chair, pushing down a little bit, using that action to help remind me to lift up through my lower rib cage as well. And then if I would like to, I could play around with the balance. Ooh, left side's always tricky for me, as some of you know. Checking out what's it like today. Beautiful. Bring that hand back down if it was lifted. Rotate the pelvis back to neutral, lifting up that left hand if it was lowered. Lower that right leg if it was still lifted. And bending your knees. Go ahead and come on up to standing. Onto your back with the feet on the calves on the chair, or else take a child's pose if you would rather. And whichever is more comfortable for you. Okay, so if you are in child's pose, just come on up to your heels. If you are lying on your back, bring your knees into your chest, roll to one side. We're going to go ahead and come into a pigeon pose using the chair next. And for this pose, you might want to break out those blankets or beach towels, what have you. So what I'm going to do here, a lot of people will want to pad beneath their left knee. I really don't need to do that because I have longer legs. So part of it's just like the length of your leg versus the length of your chair. This is a short chair. But if you want to, pad underneath your knees with your blankets. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna bring that right leg up into pigeon pose on the chair. Now, my right knee is gonna, I'm moving towards having my right calf kind of parallel to the front edge of the chair and my hips even. Now here actually, I'm feeling that in my knee, so I'm gonna pat under my knee. And one of the things I like about doing this variation of pigeon pose is you'll notice that it's pretty neutral for the lower back. We're not in a back bend position yet. This left leg is in a pretty neutral position for us right here. So take a couple of breaths here and notice that. Drawing down with the shoulders. Good, and then we're gonna have an option that I don't recommend if you have back problems. So if you tend to have a lot of pain in the lower back, I would stay right here and enjoy this variation of the pose. If you would like to come into the variation, you can bend your elbows, come forward with the chest, tuck those back toes under, push back through that inner left heel, drop the shoulders down. And now listen to your low back. Is this okay? My left knee is now off the floor. If I would like to, I could stay here. If my low back is really okay with it, I could bring my hands to the seat of the chair and come more vertical with my spine. But definitely listen to your low back. Only move as far as you can with the shoulders soft, chest broad, breaths consistent and steady. Good, and then we will put that left knee down. And we will uncross that right leg. Think about how that felt. Okay, second side. So once again, we're gonna bring that right leg. There's no graceful way that I've found to do this. Someone can do it gracefully, not me. I'm bringing my left foot up. So my left foot is flexed. My left calf is roughly parallel. I could have a stack of blankets up underneath my knee to make this a little more manageable for me. I could have blankets propped up under this leg as well. Good, I'm supporting myself, holding onto the chair, shoulders down, lifting through the belly. Good. Dropping those inner shoulder blades down away from your ears. And then optional, bend forward here, tuck the toes under, and press back with that right heel, lengthening back through that right inner heel. Now see what we're doing here by bending forward at the hips is we're not arching into our low back. And you can have your hands on the seat of the chair if that makes life easier here, but stay bent forward at the hips. If your low back is feeling tender, only come up, only begin to lift, rotate the pelvis up, more upright if that feels okay on your low back. And keep active through the legs. Keep steady with the breath. Nice. And if you'd like to bring that knee down to the floor and unhook that left leg. Ooh, enjoying your hips. And let's put that padding to the side. And we're gonna do one more variation of dog pose on the chair into a balance pose. This time we're gonna do dog pose on the chair, moving into the revolved Ardha Chandrasana. So you definitely can stay with the leg lift. Don't feel that you have to do anything that doesn't feel right for your body. And if you use blocks for twists, have a block handy. I'm gonna bring our hands to the chair. We're gonna go ahead and walk back so our heels are directly beneath our hips, drawing the inner shoulder blades back away from the knees. Good. Then lift that left leg up, pressing back to that left inner heel. Good. Oh goodness, I think you're probably hearing the noise of my family's espresso maker, not mine, may I add. Press back through that left inner heel, and then if it feels okay for you, bring the left hand down either to the floor or a block and begin to move your right pelvic bone about around that right thigh, rotating towards that right inner thigh with the belly button, pressing back with that left inner thigh. My right hand is on the chair. If I would like to try and lift that right arm up, I will. My arm isn't directly up towards the sky because that would be further than my shoulders are actually truly rotated, and I don't want to hyperextend my arm. Good, and then I'm going to begin to rotate from my right hip back to parallel. And then I'm going to bring my left hand back up to that chair. I'm going to bring my left foot down. Whew, that was fun. Come on up. You don't have to switch your chair. Keep your chair against the wall. I'm just doing it so I can face you when I twist. Okay, taking a breath. How did that settle with your body? How'd that feel? Okay, let's take it on the second side. Hands are going to come onto the chair, walking yourself back into your dog pose on the chair. Lifting the right leg up, pressing back through that right inner heel. We held this for quite a while on the first side because the coffee maker was going off, so we're going to hold it on the second side as well to keep ourselves even. Good, pressing back. Make use of the opportunity to give ourselves a few extra breaths of practice, pushing back through that right inner heel. And then I'm going to bring my right hand down, and you could use a block if you'd like. And I'm twisting from my left pelvic bone, moving around my left thigh bone. And I'm twisting my belly button towards my left inner thigh a little bit. And I'm lengthening my left shoulder blade back away from my ear, and I'm pressing back through my right inner heel. And if I wanted to try lifting up with my left arm, I could. Definitely no obligation. Keep pressing back with that right heel. And then bringing that left hand down to the chair, rotating the hips back to neutral. Lift that right hand up onto the chair. Lower that right foot down. And bending your knees. Whew, that was fun. Go ahead and come on up to standing. Okay, we're going to use the chair now in a way where it's probably going to be harder for those of you who don't have like a folding chair. Excuse me, I apologize in advance. And for this one, you will need to move your chair away from the wall for a moment. So I'm going to take Warrior 2, sitting on the chair. My right foot is forward. My right knee is above my right ankle. You'll notice my knee and ankle are turned slightly forward. When I'm sitting down like this, I don't have full splits. I don't have 180 turnout. So it's actually healthier for me to maintain a slight angle here. My back, like you'll notice, is also slightly angled forward. It's not straight out to the side. I personally like getting the stretch through the ankle of having my foot parallel to having the sides of my feet parallel, but some people do like turning their foot out. I like having the foot parallel. And then sitting upright here, some people like to pad with some blankets. I find sitting upright here and just letting my inner thighs get a stretch is a wonderful thing. And then sometimes I hold on to the back of the chair and I just gently, I'm trying to keep my pelvis where it is, but I'm lengthening up and out and lengthening up and out through both sides of the body. And then I come back up to center. Good. And then you can stay right here. If this is good for you, stay here. If you want, I should do thumbs up. If you want to, go ahead and lift up that right leg and push out through that right inner heel. Good. Lifting that right inner heel up off the floor, drop that shoulder away from the ear. Put that right foot down. And go ahead and exit from the chair. Okay, so we're going to do that on the second side. Do that warrior pose with the possible leg extension on the second side. So go ahead and bring your left thigh to the chair. And again, I don't have perfect turnout. So you'll see my leg isn't like straight out to the side, right? My knee is a little turned slightly forward. My inner thighs are stretching away from each other. I'm staying long through the sides of my body. I could be using blankets under this left thigh if that made me feel like the pose was more accessible. I could have that foot turned out. Right? You can take a lot of alternatives here. For me, it feels really good to arc back away from that bent leg while keeping that hip where it is, keeping that pelvis where it is, and beginning to lengthen just a little bit through that lower front abdominal tissue. Good. Come back up. You might be getting a great stretch right here, in which case, awesome. Stay here. If you want more, go ahead and walk that left leg forward, lift that left foot up off the floor, press forward with that left inner heel, drop the shoulders down, lengthen through those inner thighs. Take a few deep breaths. Notice what that feels like for you. And then if you'd like to, go ahead and bend that left knee. Bring that right leg forward, step your leg out of the chair. This next option is another one that can be a little more advanced, more of an intermediate pose. Feel free to laugh at it or to give it a try. It involves putting your belly on the back of the chair. Many people prefer doing that with a blanket there. They think it's a nice, softer feeling. I actually don't like it, but it feels like unstable to me, but do what works for your body. So we're gonna do a variation of peacock pose. And again, feel free to skip it if this one is not for you. I'm trying to get all the chair poses together in one place, all the poses with the chair in one place. So I'm throwing in a couple of the crazies. So I'm coming into it by bringing my low belly, and for me, it's like right between my upper pelvic crests. I've been told by some of my students it varies. And so you might want to find the hinge point of your balance here on the back of the chair. And then I have my hands, you could have your hands turned out to the side like this, holding the sides of the chair. You could have your hands in fists on your knuckles if that feels better for your wrists. The classic position, which is kind of hard for a lot of people, is to have the fingertips pointing back towards the legs. So only do what feels good for you. Draw your shoulder blades back and see with what it would be like to try and lift the legs up off the floor. Drawing back, it's off the floor. Drawing back through the legs, drawing back through the shoulders, drawing forward with the belly. Keep breathing. If this does not feel safe to you, don't do it. Remember, you are in charge of your body. You might come up and down a few times. I always pretend I'm in the finale scene of Dirty Dancing. In this position. Bring your feet down to the floor. Only some of you will understand what that means, but you will really get what that means. And then, come on, up, roll your shoulders back. Okay, might as well get all the crazy ones over at once. So this is another one that might be difficult for some people's wrists. So I apologize in advance. You will definitely want to have the chair at a wall for this one. Again, I'm going to measure the length of my leg roughly from the chair. So I have my feet at the legs of the chair, and I'm seeing where my hips are. And I'm putting my hand there. And I'm keeping my hand there when I turn around. And then I'm coming to all fours. And my hands are going to be where my hips were, and my shoulders were above my hands. Now, if this is uncomfortable for your wrists, you could try this on knuckles. Some people try this on forearms. You can play with it, right? Or you can just say, I'm not doing this one today. An alternative pose would be some variation of dog pose. Okay, now I'm going to slowly come up, and I'm going to bring my feet up onto the chair. Good. And I'm going to try and breathe into the back of my chest and wrap my shoulder blades around to the sides of my chest. And you see here, I think I can feel that I'm pushing on the chair a little bit. So I really want you to be doing this with the chair at the wall. I'm just not doing that, but for the convenience of filming. Keep rolling those front thighs towards each other if you're taking this variation. Good. Bring your feet down and gently release. And you have all earned a child's pose. So take a child's pose for a moment. Good work, trying some hard stuff today. Okay, we're just going to do 2 more things on the chair. We're going to have twist on the chair. And you are going to have a choice. So I'm going to have the kind of more gentle twist and the slightly, the one that requires more bodily mobility. Definitely listen to your body, and we're going to start by bringing the left hand towards the right knee and bringing the right hand towards the side of the chair, the back of the chair, the seat of the chair, and just twisting that way. And that's the simple twisting lunge. If you'd like to try a slightly more advanced variation, you can lift your left ankle on top of the right thigh, flexing that left foot, dropping the shoulders, keeping both hips grounded. And now I'm going to slowly move with my left elbow in the direction of my left arch my foot. And for a lot of us, we're going to start with the right hand on the hip, left hand on the arch the foot. Some of us might eventually get to the position of having that elbow on the inside of the arch of the foot, and then I just put my left hand on top of my right fist, drawing both shoulder blades down away from the ears. Good. Come back to center and cross the leg. If you were doing the simple twist, come back to center. Those of you doing simple twist, right hand to left knee, left hand to the chair, gentle twist to the side. Those of you doing the other variation, cross the right ankle over the left knee, flexing that foot. Check in. Can you ground through both sitting bones? Can you open through the chest? Good. Then we're going to see if you can twist towards the left. And we're going to begin bringing that right arm down on the inside of the arch of that foot. Maybe reaching that elbow. Again, only moving as far as your body wants to today, right? Fighting with my body has never resulted in good things. I've thought to myself, well, my body doesn't want to do that. I have willpower. Yeah, I have the willpower to injure myself. So don't fight with your body. Good. And slowly unwind. If you're in the simple twist, slowly unwind. Okay. Gonna do one more. So, next pose, we're going to take Upavista to Konasana, bending forward with the chair. And if you have tighter hips and hamstrings, you might want to take a blanket or two and roll them up beneath your sitting bones. And also, if your knees don't like this, I know for years I practiced with rolled blankets beneath my knees to soften the backs of my knees. So take a pose that works for you. And as you can see, I have my chair in front of me, my legs are out to either side, toes, shins, kneecaps, and thighs, all facing up towards the ceiling, right? And then I can bring my hands onto the chair and I'm pushing down with my hands as I'm grounding down with my inner thighs, as I'm pushing out with my inner heels. Good. I know a lot of us will stay here, drawing the shoulder blades down, just work really hard and grounding down through the sitting bones, lengthening up through the spine. Those of us who can hinge forward here might be able to come a little further forward, sliding the chair forward, continuing to have that action of pushing down slightly through the arms, helping me get that action of wrapping the shoulder blades around the side chest. I'm continuing to push out through my inner heels. I'm dropping the shoulders down. I'm really tractioning my back here. And I'm keeping the neck and jaw soft, or maybe I'm not, but I'd like to be. Good, just a couple more breaths here. Good, and slowly bring your hands off the chair, push into the floor, unhinge your hips if they were down, or forward, bend your knees, and just give your knees any love they need. Whew. You know, I like doing a little bit of cobbler's pose. And then after doing any final movements that might feel appropriate to you, we're going to come into Shavasana. And I'm going to talk you through a few breaths before I tell you to turn off the video. One option for Shavasana, I'm just going to remind you, as long as you have the chair out, is to have your legs on the chair if you liked that. Or you could come to lying in a more traditional Shavasana if you like. Or you could take some in-between point, putting blankets underneath your knees. Now come into a comfortable position and just be able to turn this off in a moment, because I'm just going to talk you through a few breaths and then say namaste, thank you for practicing, and ask you to take a 5 to 10 minute Shavasana. So taking a deep inhalation, notice the sensation of the breath moving through your nose. Notice if you can feel your chest opening, receiving the breath. When you exhale, feel the breath coming out of your nose. Maybe notice if you can feel the chest softening a little bit. And take a few more breaths like this, just noticing as you inhale. The body makes space for the breath. As you exhale, the body gently releases, helping to push the breath out. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. This is a lot of fun. And I hope you can turn this off and have a good 5-10 minute Shavasana.